The best part about speaking in the late afternoon is usually the fact that there is such great attrition in the audience that you can actually speak to an empty hall also, right? The lunch at the Islamic Cultural Center is always so brilliant, so outstanding. And I think most people who survive here actually only survive to sleep. So I hope there will be someone awake to listen to what we have to say at the moment. We've got about less than an hour, so I think I've got about 10, 12 minutes to speak, not more than that. I can speak a lot of serious things, but my focus is essentially on the Ulema, and my compliments to the Ulema. मैं सर झुकाता हूँ आपके सामने. It is very important. You are a very important element of Islamic society, Indian society. And therefore, whatever I say will be connected in some way or the other to you. But let me start anecdotally. See, in India, we can make everything serious, very, very serious. But if you really want something to go home as a lesson, let it come in the form of anecdotes. You know, I'm associated with Kashmir. And you may be wondering, what is a general doing among ulemas out here? Right? Let me relate to you that a story, small story. We captured a terrorist on the line of control. We captured a terrorist. I flew down by a helicopter to this township of Kupwara to meet the terrorist. Now you sometimes wonder, what are you doing to meet a terrorist? I wanted to know from the terrorist, what was his perception of being captured by the Indian army in Kashmir? Well, what transpired? One of the first questions I asked him was, when you were captured, when you came here, when you came into India, when you came into the Indian part of Kashmir here, our held territory, what were the thoughts in your mind? He said, I was told that this is a part of the world where azan is not permitted. This is what I was told by everyone. He was from some way off village near Bahawalpur, and this is what he was told. So I said, and what do you feel today? He says, यहाँ तो azan ही azan hai. From every window, every door, every hilltop, every jungle, in the morning I can only hear the azan here. This is exactly what Mr. Akbar was saying just now. Azan, everywhere there was azan. Let me also tell you a small story of Kargil. After Kargil, a very famous play was enacted, set up by Amir Raza Hussain. If you remember, somewhere going towards Gurgaon, there was an outdoor setup which was made for it. It was called Kargil 2000 or Kargil 99 or something like that. In that, there's an enactment. A young Pakistani soldier and a grizzly JCO, someone with 20-25 years of service, are conversing between them. And they hear, on the other side of the line of control, they hear a sound coming, which says, Allahu Akbar. And this young soldier picks up his rifle and tells the JCO that those Indians on the other side are making fun of my faith. How are they saying Allahu Akbar when they are not Muslims? They are making fun of my faith. And the JCO, the experienced man, says, you don't know that army. You don't know those people. In that army, there are equal number of Muslims too. And they all believe in the faith. They all live together. They fight together for their nation. The unit that they were referring to is a unit called the 12th Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, which has got Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, and Bauds. All four combined together. And you'll be happy to know that under one roof, all four religions are represented. The day there is Eid, everyone comes together to pray. The day there is Diwali, everyone comes together to pray. And the oath to the Constitution of India, the oath to service to India is taken on individual religious books, which are all paraded on the parade ground. This is what is India. This is what is the diversity of India. And if you step across on the other side, 250 million Indonesian people. This is exactly what you find there. I have been a member of the India-Indonesia Friendship Forum, visited Jakarta 3 times, experienced it myself. I have not found a nation which has greater respect for its heritage than this nation called Indonesia. Its ability to handle its past, the culture of the past, combine it with the present, and look to the future. I think that is the greatness of Indonesia. And therefore you see the similarity between India and Indonesia. Our ability to handle diversity, diversity of people, diversity of cultures, diversity of heritage, diversity of history. And yet, put all this together to look to the future. And that is why, my dear friends, 1.7 billion people that we are, India and Indians and Indonesians, are the target of the world's radicals. Because they know that if perception has to change, if perception has to get radicalized within Islamic society, it must start from here. This is the largest segment of Muslims in the world. And that is the common threat to both India and Indonesia. That's the important aspect. Today, this morning, if you read the Indian Express, you will find a fascinating article on the left side of the op-ed page. It's on 1979. Written by Raja Mohan, I think, 1979. Very, very important year in the history of Islam, I would say. 3 major events took place. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, the Iranian Revolution, and the third one, which a lot of people forget, is the takeover of the Grand Mosque by the Ikhwan, which led to all kinds of actions and reactions and counteractions which took place. And that is the time, that is the point in history from where started this entire movement of attempting to radicalize Islam. Of course, attempts have been made in the past many times, but the serious efforts of the current times to try and radicalize Islam. What is the meaning of a radical? This morning's discourse, we have nowhere described who is a radical. What is a radical? I think, in my experience, one of the best ways of understanding what is a radical or who is a radical is an example from Jio TV in Pakistan. A clip which shows a suicide bomber captured. His equipment has failed, has been captured, and a question is put to him by an anchor of Jio TV and says, your suicide act is only going to kill Muslims. So why are you hell-bent on killing Muslims? So the answer he gives is a very pertinent answer. He says, these are not Muslims. Muslim is only me. My belief, the way I believe Islam, the way I interpret Islam, and I am willing to use violence to implement my belief. That is a radical. A person who believes there is no other interpretation. The excellent discourse which Shah Faisal Saab was just talking about, the influence of nationalism, the influence of ethnicity, the influence of national boundaries on Islam, which has to happen, is a natural human growth process. That is denied by the Islamists, denied by those who wish to follow a single discourse of radical Islam. Now, to cut it short, I've been a practitioner. As a soldier, it was never my intent anywhere that I operated to use the power of the gun. It's the simplest thing. Use the power of the gun to eliminate what you think is against you. It will all come back to you, let me tell you. The power of the gun never succeeds at the end. It is the power of the heart, the power of the brain, which finally succeeds. How you link with the people, how you culturally metamorphosize those people into thinking differently, that is what makes the difference. It's never violence, never unbridled violence. And that there lies the solution. And there comes in the role of the ulema, hugely. everyone thinks it's very simple, that the ulema has to just make an interpretation and speak about it. It's not so. In today's world, technology supports this in a huge way. So let me share with you in a few minutes before I end an experiment I tried. I thought that in Kashmir, radicalization was a weapon being used by our adversaries against us to try and change society, to alter society's thinking against the mainstream thinking of India. We, from the armed forces, were attempting to counter this. And we were excited by the rise of social media in 2009, 10, 11, Facebooks, Instagram and things like that had come up. And we thought it was so simple to put out narratives, change narratives, put interpretations, and the people would lap it up. I set up a small organization for this also. Let me tell you, the third day of our campaign, and we declared ourselves as failures. We could not succeed. There's a simple reason for it. We didn't have the support of the ulema. We didn't have the support of the ulema. We did not have the support of the academia. We had the support of the Indian Army. We had the support of the AK-47 behind us. But that doesn't make success. We needed the brain, we needed the heart. And that had to come from people who thought differently, people who could change narratives, who understood the narrative correctly. And that can only happen from the power of those who are academically inclined, religiously inclined, who can make the right interpretations, who have the intellect with them. And their research and the backdrop of this makes the entire difference. So if you wish tomorrow to be a practitioner, let me tell you, the combination of academia, the combination of the ulema, along with the other practitioners, backed up hugely by intelligentsia, civil society overall, all this combined together will spell out your narratives for the future. Do not believe people who say that it is ultimately the gun which will change everything. Because you're hearing it from the mouth of a soldier at the moment, that a gun changes nothing. Thank you very much.